Yo, what's up guys? It's Finnywinny here with a video on Master Chief. So yeah, we're going to be researching Master Chief in this video. First off, Master Chief Petty Officer is the rank that Master Chief has. It is a real rank in the military. So yeah, so first we're going to look at images and yeah. Now, some people say all the character costumes in the Halo show look like cosplay. Well, they look realistic. Let's say that they look kind of like the games. So, here we have the Halo Infinite cover or one of the pictures of Master Chief on the planet. So this is Halo Infinite here. And so yeah, with this we have Master Chief appearing in Fortnite, which came out about a year ago. Now we have Master Chief toys with the red energy sword that you can obtain in Halo Infinite. Backstory fully of Master Chief. We're looking at this. So, we're going to be visiting the site of Screen Rant. I give all credit to Screen Rant for the websites that are being used in this video. So, yeah, let's see. Pablo Schreiber plays the Master Chief in Paramount Plus's Halo TV series. But who is the legendary Spartan and how did he become a hero? By Thomas Bacon, published March 25th, 2022. The Master Chief is a hero of the Halo TV series, but many viewers will be unfamiliar with his backstory. In 2001, the Halo Combat Evolved Xbox console introduced gamers to the Master Chief, an elite Spartan soldier locked in war with an invading alien covenant. The Master Chief story continues in sequels and is inspired an ever-expanding universe of tie-in comics, graphic novels, books, and animations. These have explored his backstory, revealing how he was inducted into Dr. Halsey's Spartan program, and even how he became Master Chief. Showrunner Stephen King overstated when he said Halo's writers and producers didn't look at the game. They clearly did, because the opening combat scenes are like Halo battle brought to life, as they should be. What he appeared to be stating, however, was that the creative team had looked beyond the game. They'd taken the time to familiarize themselves with the wider world that has been built through various tie-ins, and in so doing, they've created a much more cohesive universe for the Master Chief to operate in. Related, Halo shows Silver Team versus the game's Blue Team. What's the difference? So yes, you may notice if you watch the Halo show, you will see Master Chief mentioning Silver Team, not Blue Team. In Halo 5, you get introduced to Blue Team, which is the Spartans that Master Chief considers his family. And one of them, Sam. He is mentioned in Halo Fall of Reach, which is death makes Master Chief's team mourn. To learn more about Sam, watch the Halo Fall of Reach, and you will understand some of the backstory of Master Chief. So let's move on. The difference between Silver Team and Blue Team. This does, however, mean many viewers will be surprised by Pablo Schreiber's portrayal of the Master Chief, and indeed with aspects of his history explored in just the first episode. Fortunately, Paramount Plus's TV series actually reproduces the story in a remarkably faithful manner. There's not much difference between the TV show's so-called Silver timeline and the one seen in the original canon. Here's all viewers need to know about the Master Chief's backstory. John 117, Origins and Kidnapping. This is the picture of Dr. Halsey and the actress who plays Dr. Halsey in the new Halo show. The story of Master Chief begins on the troubled outer colony world of Eridanos II. The population of Eridanos II increasingly resented Earth's rule, and a pro-independence regime became increasingly radicalized, culminating in the Watts Uprising in 2513. A UNSC force was sent in to quell the uprising and remained present, dealing with constant terrorist attacks and a growing pirate presence. The child who would become the Master Chief, known only as John, was therefore brought up on a UNSC-occupied world where the fear of terrorism was an everyday part of life. When he was 6 years old, he was visited by Dr. Catherine Halsey, founder of the Spartan program. She covertly used a vaccination program to obtain genetic samples from children across the galaxy. Looking for genetic markers she believed would make them good Spartans. She was particularly impressed with John, who she noted possessed a remarkable attribute beyond her other Spartans. He was incredibly lucky. Halsey believed the Spartans would be the UNSC's greatest defense against the insurrectionist threat. So the insurrectionists, they are like what we call terrorists in the Halo universe. So they're not mentioned very much in the game, and I'm not even sure if they are mentioned in the game, but they are mentioned a little bit in the Halo movies. Now, some of the Halo movies are animated, and some of them are live action. I don't know I can't remember if they mention insurrectionists in the Halo show, but there is something close to it if they didn't. You'll notice that there is a bad guy in it, and he is like an evil dictator. So on Planet Madrigal, in the first episode, it shows a whole bunch of refugees. They hate Spartans and they hate the UNSC because it mentions that the UNSC basically owns the galaxy. So yes, the military owns the galaxy pretty much in the Halo universe. But insurrectionists are fighters. But the people on Planet Madrigal, they're innocent civilians, kind of. They have guns and weapons, but they're not exactly what you should call bad. The insurrectionists are what we call terrorists. So the people on Planet Madrigal are refugees, not terrorists. Big difference. So, many of Dr. Halsey's recruits were orphaned. John was not, however, and so Dr. Halsey created an illegal flash clone to replace him, a clone whose aging had been artificially accelerated, whose memories would match with the boy's, but who was unstable because of the rapid aging, and would die within a year. John's family believed him dead, but he would gain a new family with the Spartans. Okay, so that's with that part. So this Screen Rant website is actually pretty helpful with us for this video so far. So, I'm gonna introduce you to the Spartan 2 program. Okay, so Spartan 2 program explained how John became Master Chief. Officially designated John 117, the boy who would become Halo's iconic Master Chief, underwent an intense training regime, one focused as much on developing his tactical skills and reasoning powers as it was on his physical attributes. The 75th Spartans became a closely knit family, uniting around the world they shared experiences, and they were routinely placed against the UNSC's best Marines in tests. Ones they usually passed. John 117 proved to be one of their best leaders and tacticians, in part because of his luck. But the Spartans' greatest tests would come when they reached adultness. When Dr. Halsey had every one of the Spartans undergo illegal genetic engineering and cybernetic experiments to transform them into super soldiers. Only around 30 Spartans survived on Sast, while another 12 were rendered too injured to be soldiers, but still possessed skills the UNSC deemed useful. John's first field mission post-augmentation was to the Eridanus system, where he launched a one-man raid to arrest the insurrectionist Robert Watts himself. I apologize about my pronouncing. I'm a kid, so yeah. My pronouncing may not be the best with some of these words, because obviously you can tell that an adult probably made this, and Screen Rant is most likely an adult owner of the channel on YouTube. But, so, yes, Robert Watts is mentioned near the end of the Halo Fall of Reach. He is the insurrectionist leader, and Master Chief and his crew do a one-man raid, and totally beat the crap out of those guys. And they're adults. They're bad guys, though. So teenagers beat the crap out of adults. Hard to believe, right? Well, they're super soldiers, so in your face, insurrectionists. Alright, so another thing related to it, Halo show. Why Master Chief's voice actor was recast, but Cortana wasn't. Interesting. So I was kind of looking forward to the original voice actor for Master Chief in the video games to be playing the role as Master Chief in the Halo show, but I'm fine with the actor. I think he's doing good with it. So yeah, I'm okay with him. So, but Cortana wasn't. I haven't heard her voice yet, but I can't wait till tomorrow, because that's when the new episode of the Halo show comes out, and I believe that's going to be episode 3, and we can enjoy that, people. So let's do that. So try that if you like the Halo franchise. Alright, so the Spartans had been created to take on insurrectionists, but they soon became the UNSC's greatest defense against an alien covenant focused on rendering the human race extinct. Fortunately, Dr. Halsey had prepared one more stage to her Spartan project. The powerful Mjolnir exo-armor, sophisticated technology the Spartans could only wield because of the augmentation processes. So there is kind of a brutal scene in this, and Halo Fall of Reach. They did use a person that did not get the augmentation to see if they could do the Spartan, to see if they could survive the Spartan program, and it was a big failure. It destroyed their bones, all of it. It was a brutal scene, but it was animated, so yeah. And it was kind of gross, but his bones were all cracked, and it killed him. It ate him alive, basically. It was a brutal scene, but that's like a sad part of this. But Sam's death, saddest of all. R.I.P. Sam. Alright, so, yes. So, augmentation processes that they had survived. John led the Spartans through many victories against the Covenant, but at a cost, as he lost members of his Spartan family under Covenant fire, including his best friend Sam. By the age of 17, he had officially been decorated as a Master Chief, albeit only so UNSC Marines and drop troopers would obey his orders. So there you go. That is that part of it. So yeah, I plan on reading this whole site. Hopefully, this depends how long I have time for this video. So yeah, hopefully it will still keep giving us good information. So Master Chief in the Halo TV show. Everything we know. Alright. The Halo TV series Master Chief appears to have a very similar origin story. The Master Chief touches a mysterious Forerunner artifact in Halo Episode 1 that triggers a series of visions. Intriguingly, Dr. Halsey believes these visions are actually memories of his life before he was a Spartan, suggesting she went one step further in the Silver timeline and actually erased her Spartans' memories of their lives before they were taken in by the UNSC. So yes, in Halo Episode 1, Master Chief touched a mysterious Forerunner object that the Covenant was mining for, and this triggered a memory. Master Chief saw visions of a white dog, a family, and a boy. I think, and I'm sure other people think, and Dr. Halsey probably thinks in the show, that he's remembering and that he's getting an idea and that he might be rebelling. Which, in Halo Episode 2, Halsey realizes she might have to put a stop to this, so she presents her idea to the UNSC members, like the generals and stuff, called Cortana. So Cortana is the AI that Master Chief becomes really close with in the Halo games. But in the Halo 5, Cortana is known as the antagonist. And Master Chief is so dedicated to it that he wants to not get rid of her, and he thinks Cortana is still good. He has faith in her. And in Halo Infinite, when Atriox attacks the Infinity, Atriox attacks Master Chief, and knocks the Cortana chip out of Master Chief's hand. Sad, and it's actually really interesting because Master Chief grabs it. He tries to grab it. So, yes, he didn't want to lose Cortana. He misses Cortana and he's sad. So, now, I talked to my family about this. So I watched the Halo show with my family. My grandpa actually, and he says that that they probably show Master Chief's face because they want to show that he's more human. Because in the Halo games, he just seems to be an emotionless robot who goes around killing aliens and just following orders like he's programmed to. Well, in the Halo show, there's actually a lot more. Master Chief actually has feelings now, and in Halo, and as you go in the Halo games, you realize that Master Chief actually, the only time you really get Master Chief's feelings opened up to you is like when you see him with Cortana. He's only shows his emotions when he's around Cortana. It's like she's like really close to him, like family, and so it made him really sad, and I thought that was really interesting. But moving on, Cortana is mentioned in the Halo show because in Season 1, Episode 3, which is coming out tomorrow, I think, they will show Cortana and maybe get Master Chief and Cortana introduced, and it will continue because actually, as you can see, that Captain Keyes is still alive in the Halo show. So therefore, all the events that has happened in the Halo franchise and the games has not happened yet. This is before combat evolved. So, interesting, right? But moving on. Alright. Alright, so, yeah. Clearly this is a theme that will continue to be explored as the series progresses, because it's unclear whether Dr. Halsey is correct, and these are indeed John 117's repressed memories, or why a Forerunner artifact would trigger them. The Halo TV series is set in the year 2552, the final year of the Human Covenant War, assuming the timelines are the same. Master Chief is now in his early 40s, and all he's known throughout his life is war. The number of Spartans in the field will have reduced dramatically over the years due to losses and engagements with the Covenant, but the Master Chief would by now be their most decorated and celebrated champion. So, Master Chief's future: fall of Reach and destroying the Halo rings. So as you can see, these are the original graphics to Halo 1, which came out in 2001. So, the Master Chief is, of course, the star of the Halo franchise. While the Silver Timeline story won't necessarily be the same as the old one told in the main franchise, the origin of Master Chief is so similar that it feels as though the show will ultimately be a fairly straight adaptation. If that is indeed the case, the Master Chief will play a key that help the UNSC discover the coordinates of one of the Halo rings, ancient weapons designed to sterilize the galaxy of life, to starve a parasitic infection known as the Flood. Unfortunately, the UNSC operation will be disrupted when the Covenant discovers Reach, the center of the UNSC military operations. The Master Chief will be on one of the few vessels to escape fall of Reach, and when he will be taken to the Halo ring, which he'll choose to destroy rather than allow it to fall in the hands of the Covenant. So yes, the Covenant is the aliens, and the Prophets want the rings because they want to rule the world, and that could mean destroying the world. So yeah, it mentions the Flood, and the Flood is basically like zombies, and they're gross, yucky, and I say that. Saying that Captain Peace is still alive is because in Halo Combat Evolved at the end, his face got eaten off by the Flood, and it's gross. So yeah, moving on. Ugh. It's likely Halo Season 1 will tell the first part of this story with the discovery of the Forerunner artifacts, and the fall of Reach is that indeed the case. Then the end of Halo Season 1 will see the Master Chief discover the Halo ring itself, setting up a second season that feels more like the main event. The tale of Master Chief has only begun, and Halo is sure to make it a wild ride. So more. Halo Master Chief's face reveal backlash is ridiculous. Halo release new episode Thursday. He's on Paramount Plus. Alright, so yep. So, yeah, Thomas Bacon. So, Tom Bacon is one of Screen Rant's staff writers, as well as a peer mentor for the new writers and member of the thing. Well, interesting. So, yeah, that's the Screen Rant website for you guys. So, hopefully you enjoyed my podcast thing, kind of. So yeah, please check out Screen Rant, check out the new Halo show, and please subscribe and like, and please leave comments below. So yeah, Finny Winnie out.